and then I got into this college. So there was a big dilemma in for which stream should I choose. I was interested in both CS and mechanical, but then I opted for mechanical because it fascinates me more. I like doing those mechanical stuff. So I did mechanical for 3 years. I have been working on many projects.
Hmm.
I have worked in various fields. Initially, I worked on some turbine design, aerofoil, based on those aerofoils. Then I had also worked on IoT based projects. Then the focus had shifted towards robotics.
Hmm.
Initially, I got into robotics from our club. There was an initiative in our college where we started this club, robotics club. So I started getting involved in these things, and then I started doing projects on robotics. Then I eventually did an internship from IIT Bhubaneswar in robotics, and I'm pretty interested in this field. So I have worked on all these projects, and my final year project is also based on robotics itself. It's a prosthetic arm we have to design, and along with this, I'm also working on a on building a quadruped robot.
Like a drone.
That's all about my project. And basically, I want to pursue my career in this robotics and design field
Hmm.
because I like it, and I'm pretty much comfortable with those CAD softwares. I have within this lockdown as well. I did a specialization in this Autodesk Fusion 360.
Hmm.
Uh, and academic is it's fine, sir, it's not a problem. And the thing I'm worried about is already in India, sir, compared to other departments like CSC and ECE, mechanical jobs are pretty less.
Hmm.
And now because of this COVID-19 scenario, there will be some more issues. So I'm a bit worried about this, how to go along with this and how to get into an industry which interests me more. And I want to work on my fields. I don't want to go in some IT sector or management stuff. So that's it, sir.
Okay. So, Prasenjit, I think the problem you said about. I think what you are worried about, in my opinion, is how can I find a job in my core sector of my interest, right? Rather than
Yes, sir.
rather than going for working for an IT company, which most of the people do.
Yes, sir. That's
Right.
the issue, sir.
That's right. So I think this problem is not new to India, to be honest. Even when we were
Yes, sir.
graduating, the core sector jobs are very limited, right? And most of our friends and colleagues, they end up going and working for a software company, right?
Yes, sir.
And so what people did, who want to keep going into their own sector, our own core sector, right? The
Yes, sir.
only thing I think in that case is either you can find a job in a company which is representative of your interest and your core sector. And if you, I don't know whether there you can, companies who work in the area of robotics and they do or make robots or things like that, like in Japan or Korea, right? There are a lot of companies out there who do such kind of things. So I don't know whether there are companies exist in India who precisely do that kind of a job, right?
So there is actually, sir. I had gone through a lot, but
Yeah. No,
there
no,
is
no. I
actually.
said I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So what I'm saying, if there are some core sector jobs and there are companies who work on that area, of course, the first thing first you want to do is apply to those companies, right? So
Yes,
I
sir.
would say connect. When are you graduating?
So next year by this time,
Next year. Okay.
by
So you
June.
have, right. So you have 1 year, right?
Yeah, only.
Right. So I would say for this 1 year, what you can do, number one, try to contact those companies in LinkedIn or somewhere and figure it out what's going on. Are they hiring? What is their financial situation? What is their vision? So that you can get a good idea. So, the reason I say so, most of those companies could be a startup, right? It could be. Most of those companies are a small scale. So those companies, it's really difficult to hire sometimes, especially in this COVID situation. They are not like a Reliance or Infosys, right, where they can still hire people. They have revenue.
Hmm.
So that's number one. As I said, this problem of the core sector jobs is not new to India. It's a very common problem. Like people who have interest in their core field, what they did, like what I did, right? So I went and started my master's, right, or my PhD. And I think most of the people who are of that, who want to do that, probably that's the only thing they do. They go and start pursue their master's or PhD. But the problem comes is, let's say, for example, if you want to do masters, I can tell you about US. I don't know much about Europe and other places. Masters usually in US is not funded, so you have to pay from your pocket, right? So that becomes a big problem. So what you can do is
Okay, sir.
you can apply for PhD programs if you're interested. PhD programs usually are funded, so you get scholarships.
Okay, sir. So I would like to ask you about this.
Yeah,
The PhD programs that you're talking about, we need MS, right, for getting into PhD, or we can directly go from BTech to PhD.
I think once you commit for a PhD program, if you enter into that, they first give you a master's degree and then they enroll you after that into a PhD program.
So is it like something integrated
Like you can
course
say, yeah, kind of,
in that?
right. So when you apply in your application, you can say, because for a PhD, I think the requirement is not master's. The requirement is 10 plus 4, sorry, 12 plus 4.
Okay, sir.
So it's the, if you have an undergrad, you can go for a PhD program directly.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, and there, and then you can say, how should I apply for a PhD program? What is the right way to do that and all that? Then probably I would say you have 1 year. If you want to get into a PhD program next year in July or August, whenever the semester started, that means you have to give your GRE and TOEFL by October and November, right? And because all the applications deadline are going to be next year, January or February, that's the max. So just keep that in your mind. So you can go to internet, look at the universities which have good robotics program. I know, like for example, Carnegie Mellon has one of the best in the world. So that
I know.
I yeah, I know that. So there, but I'm pretty sure there are many other universities who have that. And then it really comes in, how do you get to a grad school, what are the criteria, and things like that. And there are some videos that I have made which speaks about that. So make sure you get a really good GRE score, don't screw it up.
So what is that criteria of a growth score like? How
No,
much
no,
we
I'm
need to
saying,
score?
like, if you want to get into a good school for your PhD program, make sure your GRE score is good. Don't screw it up.
Okay, sir.
I don't know what that number is, because now there are new, but you can Google on internet and find it out. But what I'm saying is,
Yes,
if
sir.
you get a really good GRE score, your chances of getting into a PhD program is really good, both GRE and TOEFL. So if you, what I'm saying is, if you are going to get a, if let's say if you get a bad score in your GRE and TOEFL, your chances are very low
Okay, sir.
in a good school. But again, when you apply for a PhD program, make sure you have a good mix of schools. So you can say, okay, I'm going to apply 3 top schools, 3 not so top schools, and 3 bottom schools, so that you can get an admission. You know what I mean?
Yes, I
You,
get it, sir.
yeah. So you can do a real good mix. So let's say if you get a really good GRE score, based on that, if you're confident, so only thing that is matters is your GRE score, your CGPA. If you have a good GRE score, a good CGPA, you can get good recommendations. I think you have a chance to get into a good school. And to be honest with you, that is the best way.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
That is the best way to keep your interest in in your core sector.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
So
and
I will
then you don't have to worry about scholarships and all that, because as I said, if you commit for a PhD program, you will get in a scholarship.
yes, sir. Okay, sir. I would like to ask you about this. In the industry, where does this degree stand? Like, if you are really good at your work and you are a graduate, and someone has a MS or this PhD thing, so how will this vary? The situation vary, sir.
Say again.
Hello, sir.
Can you repeat again?
So, like, where does this value of this degree stand in the industry, sir? So, if someone is really good at his work and if he's a graduate, and someone has a MS or a PhD degree, so how does it differ, sir, for both the person?
I did not understand your question.
Okay. So, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, but I did not understand your question. Can you repeat again?
So, like, suppose there are two people.
Hmm.
One is really good in his work, but he's a graduate. The other guy, he's also good, but the previous one was better. But the other guy had a PhD and an MS degree with him.
Hmm.
So how will the situation vary for both the people?
For what? Situation for what?
In the industry, so like how will it
It
how
depends.
will it may
It depends on. I mean, if you have a PhD, you are considered an expert in that area. You can't say that a master's and a bachelor's compete for the same position. It doesn't happen, right? A bachelor's or master's is considered to be a person which can do all the things, but a PhD is supposed to be an expert in a particular topic, right? Particular area. So let's say if somebody wants to hire to improve the process of a certain technology, right? Most likely it's going to hire a PhD, right? But if they want to hire someone who, like for example, Intel hires a lot of students who they allow you to work on, making silicon carbide chips or something. I mean, they hire bachelors, under masters, and all that because that work is more or less monotonous. So PhD is, as I said, PhDs. When I say PhD is supposed to be an expert, it doesn't mean he or she will be the expert, but it's supposed to be. And most of the time, if there is a PhD position, is there a job opening for a PhD? It's written there, right? You should have a PhD. It doesn't make that they're going to hire undergrad. It doesn't happen,
okay, sir.
right?
I get it, sir.
So you have to understand like really what you want to do. You want to really go deep into that area, feel, understand it better, and do and work on that. As I said, if that's your interest and that's what you want to do, my sincere advice would be uh, going for a PhD program is not a bad idea, especially from Indian context. Because as I said, when we were graduated, so I graduated from IIT BHU, and when we graduated in 2003, the situation was very much same. If we want a job in our core sector, or if we want to do something in our core sector, most of our friends, students, everyone, they tend to go out because there are a lot of jobs are, as I said, in the IT sector. Unless and until you can find a position in a company which does what you want to do. But then there are many students also, like especially masters, who are now coming back to India and looking for those sort of a jobs also. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But if you come to US, I sincerely advise that come for PhD program. Don't take loan. That's not a good thing. I don't recommend that, especially in today's situation. I don't encourage people to get a loan and get into a master's program because the chances for you to find a job could be less.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I get it, sir.
Anything other
So,
percentage you have?
can you tell me more about my
Second,
about my resume and any
can you speak loudly?
anything about my resume, any suggestions? Just a minute.
Your resume is
Anything
okay.
about my resume, any suggestions?
I think your resume is okay. I, I, I think the good thing is that you have a good CGPA. So as I said, that's going to help you. I think you can, if you want to, if once you're going to apply for a PhD program, let's say, I would say elaborate more about your project, what you have done in your CV. Write more about it. What was your role? What you were able to do? What your achievements are? What you accomplished? Add some references into it. And as I said, if you apply for a PhD program, make sure the people whom you have worked, whether you're school teachers or the person whom you have done your project, they tell them that I'm applying and I will need your recommendations and things like that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So make sure to do that. But as far as your CV is concerned, I think it's a good CV. All I would say is you should elaborate more about your what you have done, not just one line. Write a paragraph or something, elaborate it, and what you did, what you were able to achieve, what are the results, what are the outcomes, what is the future work. Tell more about it.
So, but the
In,
size and the space.
is that's okay? That doesn't matter. Just write a small four line paragraph. Keep the same format. Just write more, and then also mention what you did there. Your role. What was your role? What you were able to accomplish. So in all the projects, you can just make it 4 or 5 lines, and just in the end you can write what was your role and things like that. And also I think what you can do is add another column for the coursework what you have taken, because the professors who's going to hire you, they will be very interested in your coursework. So make another column of the coursework and just write not all of them, on the core courses that you have taken, that he can, or he or she can understand, okay, you have done some core courses, so you have a knowledge that will help.